Welcome to these online lectures. So we are dealing with the paper Environmental Education. So far we have covered the first unit and now we are in the second unit, that is objectives, scope and nature of environmental education. So coming to the meaning, importance, definition, characteristics and objectives of environmental education. So environmental education is a process that allows individual to explore environmental issues, engage in problem solving and take action to improve the environment. As a result, individuals develop a deeper understanding of environmental issues and have the skills to make informed and responsible decisions. And coming to the definition of environmental education, so here we have many definitions for the environmental education. Environmental education prepares all citizens with essential skills that contribute to healthier, more environmentally sustainable and economically prosperous communities. And coming to the components of the environmental education are awareness and sensitivity to the environment and environmental challenges, knowledge and understanding of the environment and environmental challenges. So here each and every individual should create awareness of his own and should be sensible to the issues of the environmental changes and also that cause imbalance in the environment. Skills to identify and help resolving the environmental challenges. Participation in activities that lead to the resolution of environmental changes. So here we come up with environmental education does not advocate a particular viewpoint or course of action. Rather, environmental education teaches individuals to weigh various sides of an issue through critical thinking, and it enhances their own problem solving and decision making skills. And coming to the importance of environmental education, the country has accepted the need for environmental education with the recommendations of a Tiwari committee in the year 1980. Many people recognize it as an urgent need for a betterment of the society, and moreover, it lays an emphasis on the new approaches and programs of environmental education. Environmental education is important for understanding the basis of our existence and those around us. Hence, environmental stresses on the subject of sound legislation educable citizens, sustainable management, and responsible actions by the individuals and the stakeholders of the community. And moreover, we have so many challenges to the environment nowadays. Environmental pollution in different forms continues to trouble us, but environmental education makes it possible for us to understand the clear outcome of human activity on the environment. Those who want to pursue the environmental education seriously shall also study related disciplines such as physical science, biological science, social science, and applied science. Environmental education can be pursued at undergraduate and the postgraduate level. So coming to environmental education as a learning process. So it is a learning process that increases people's knowledge and awareness about the environmental and associated challenges. Environmental education develops the necessary skills and expertise to address these challenges, including critical thinking skills, fostering attitudes, motivation, and commitment to make informed decisions and take responsible actions. So any curriculum should be based on well thought out and clearly defined concepts that one wishes the learner to acquire some important concepts of environmental education. So it has an interdisciplinary significance such as the environmental pollution, carrying capacity, ecosystems, ecology, ecological equilibrium, and the conservation of the nature, etc. And here we come to the objectives of environmental education. So, the objectives of environmental education are awareness, knowledge, attitude, skills and capacity building, participation. So coming to awareness, to help the social groups and individuals to acquire knowledge of pollution and environmental degradation. And coming to knowledge, to help social groups and individuals to acquire knowledge of the environment beyond the immediate environment, including distant environment. And coming to the attitudes, to help social groups and individuals to acquire a set of values for environmental protection. Skills and capacity building, to help social groups and individuals to develop skills required for making discriminations in form, shape, sound, touch, habits and habitats. Further, to develop an ability to draw unbiased inferences and conclusions. Excuse me. And coming to participation, to provide social groups and individuals with an opportunity to be actively involved at all levels in environmental decision making. So, the next one is characteristics of environmental education. Characteristics of environmental education. To explore the complex relationships that exist between human beings, the built environment and natural systems. Present factual, accurate and balanced content, presenting all sides of a topic and encouraging students to examine their own opinions and attitudes. To teach students more about how to think and less of what to think. It includes hands-on and minds-on investigations that engage students and future students and a student-centered learning through real-world applications. Recognize that different learning styles exist among students of all ages and strive to develop both critical and creative thinking skills in all students, allowing the students to learn from previous knowledge which would then support further learning. Be localized as well as globalized, focusing on community, backyard and schoolyard interest, as well as on national and international interest. Be user-friendly and designed to meet the needs of the stakeholders of the field of education. And coming to the aims and objectives of environmental education. UNESCO has highlighted the following aims of environmental education. The aim of environmental education is clearly to show the economic, social, political, and ecological interdependence of the modern world, in which decisions and actions by different countries can have international repercussions. Environmental education should, in this regard, help to develop a sense of responsibility and solidarity among the countries and regions as the foundation for a new international order which will guarantee the conservation and improvement of the environment. The main aim of environmental education at the grassroots level is to succeed in making individuals and communities understand the complex nature of the natural and built environments. Further, to acquire the knowledge, values, attitudes, and practical skills to participate in responsible and effective way in anticipating and solving problems and in the management of the quality of the environment. Therefore, necessary steps for environmental education are, as said previously, the awareness, the knowledge, the attitude building for motivating, To protect the environment, evaluation of the environmental measures, and the skills and capacity building. So coming to the features of environmental education. So environmental education is a learning process that expands individuals' information and mindfulness about nature's domain and related difficulties, creates the vital abilities and mastery to address the difficulties, instill confidence and stewardship, and cultivates demeanor, inspirations, and responsibilities to settle on educated choices and make dependable moves in the field that they are working with. Environmental education is an interdisciplinary field that integrates fields such as biology, ecology, geology, geography, earth science, atmospheric science, and mathematics, because understanding how environment works and keeping it healthy requires knowledge and skills from many disciplines. And moreover, it includes all efforts to make the general public aware of the knowledge of the environment and environmental challenges through print materials, media, brochures, bulletins, videos, or other media techniques. Environmental education leads to a responsible individual and group actions. It provides information about specific environmental issues, concerns, or problems to the general public instead of a specific group, religion, or community. And moreover, environmental education involves the students in different data gathering techniques that help them to discuss, analyze, predict, and interpret data about environmental issues. Environmental education is study-centered, promotes higher level thinking skills, and relevant to students' everyday lives. It allows people to discuss about complex environmental problems that have no simple answers. So, environmental education is a process in which individuals gain information, environmental awareness, and acquire knowledge, skills, values, experiences, and determination, which can help them to solve different environmental problems. And the guiding principles of environmental education are resource principles. A resource use demands long-term planning. If we are to achieve truly sustainable development, a rationalized utilization of a renewable source is a sensible way of preserving the resources while obtaining maximum benefits from it. And coming to the soil principles. The protection of soils and maintenance of sustainable agriculture are essential factors into the survival of civilizations and settlements. Soil erosion is the irreversible loss of essential resources and must be prevented. Wildlife protection principles. So, wildlife population is important aesthetically, biologically, and economically. Nature reserves and other protected wilderness areas are of value in protecting endangered species because they preserve their habitats, and the survival of humanity is closely linked to the survival of wildlife, both being dependent on the same life supporting systems. Environmental management principles. Sound environmental management is beneficial to both man and the environment. Management of natural resources should be done in a rational manner. Elimination of waste through recycling and the development of clean technologies are important to modern societies to help reduce the consumption of resources. Human activities and technologies influence considerably the natural environment and may affect its capacity to sustain life, including human life. Other principles. The relations between humans and their environment are mediated by their culture. Cultural, historical, and architectural heritage are much in need of protection. Here we conclude this lecture. Thank you. Welcome back. So we are in the second unit of the paper, Environmental Education. So in this lecture we are going to deal with the factors of degradation of environment, adverse socio-economic impacts of degradation of environment. So we shall see what environmental degradation is. Environmental degradation is the disintegration of the earth or deterioration of the environment through consumption of assets, for example, air, water, and soil. The destruction of environments and the eradication of wildlife. It is characterized as any change or aggravation to nature's turf seen to be pernicious or undesirable. Ecological effect or degradation is created by the consolidation of an effectively substantial and expanding human populace, constantly expanding monetary development or per capita fortune, and the application of assets, exhausting and polluting technology. Environmental degradation is one of the largest threats that are being looked at in the world today. The United Nations International Strategy for Disaster Reduction characterizes environmental degradation as the lessening of the limit of the earth to meet social and environmental destinations and needs. Environmental degradation can happen in number of ways. Factors that are responsible for environmental degradation. The whole living organisms depend upon environment for their existence. The environment is degrading day by day, either through natural process or through human activities. Environmental degradation is the deterioration of the environment through depletion of natural resources such as air, water, and soil. Destruction of ecosystem and the extinction of wildlife. The loss of biodiversity has created imbalance in the ecosystem. Each and every living organism are linked with each other. Environmental degradation can occur naturally or through human processes or activities, though we can say that humans are more likely to be responsible for the degradation of the environment. Nowadays, human beings are the major cause of the deterioration of the environment. The rapid increase in population consumed more resources to support the growing population and to raise the human life standards. Thus, population growth is the major cause of environmental degradation. And one more thing, pollution is also one of the causes of environmental degradation. Pollution is occurring all over the world and poisoning the planets and oceans. Even in the remote areas, the effects of land destruction are obvious. The excessive use of non-biodegradable products like plastics and many more have degraded the land and water. So, the disturbances in the land and water resources will create an imbalance in the environment. Deforestation is also The cause of environmental degradation. Humans are cutting down trees for firewood, timber, medicinal purposes, and many more. Deforestation and the logging industries have destroyed many tropical rainforests around the world. Likewise, the use of newly developed chemicals in land, water, and in other fields has degraded the environment. The varieties and quantities of chemicals that are available to humans have released into the air, water, and soil. They create a degradation of the water resources, air resources, and the soil resources. The agricultural production has been decreased, which may result scarcity of food in the future. If the wise utilization of various chemicals is not done, we incur a great loss of the natural resources. And coming to the causes of environmental degradation, some environmental life species require substantial areas to help provide food, living space, and other different assets. These creatures are called area specific. And here we come across the land disturbance. A more basic cause of environmental degradation is land damage. Numerous weedy plant species are both foreign and obtrusive. Whole environments can be destroyed because of these invasive species. Pollution is also a cause of environmental degradation. Pollution, in whatever form, whether it is air, water, land, or noise, is harmful for the environment. Air pollution pollutes the air that we breathe, which causes health issues. Water pollution degrades the quality of water that we use for drinking purposes. Land pollution results in the degradation of the earth's surface as a result of the human activities. Noise pollution can cause irreparable damage to our ears when exposed to continuous large sounds like honking of vehicles on a busy road or machines producing large noise in a factory or a mill. And even overpopulation is one of the causes of environmental degradation. Rapid population growth puts strain on natural resources, which result in degradation of the environment. Mortality rate has gone down due to the better medical facilities. which has resulted in increased lifespan. More population simply means more demand for food, clothes, and shelter. You need more space to grow food and provide homes to millions of people. This results in deforestation, which is another factor of environmental degradation. And even landfills are a cause for the environmental degradation. These landfills pollute the environment and destroy the beauty of the city. Landfills come within the city due to large amount of waste that gets generated by households, industries, factories, and hospitals. Landfills pose a great risk to the health of environment and the people who live there. Landfills produce foul smell when burned and cause huge environmental degradation. Deforestation is also a cause of environmental degradation. Deforestation, excuse me, is the cutting down of trees to make way for more homes and industries. Rapid growth in population and urban sprawl are two of the major causes of deforestation. Deforestation contributes to global warming as decreased forest size puts carbon back into the environment. And there are certain natural causes like avalanches, earthquakes, tidal waves, storms, and wildfires, which can totally crush the nearby animal and plant groups to the point where they can no longer survive in those areas. This can either come to fruition through physical demolition as the result of a disaster or by the long-term degradation of assets by the presentation of an obtrusive foreign species to the environment. Of course, humans aren't totally to blame for this whole thing. With or without the effect of human exercises, a few biological systems degrade to the point where they can help or can't help the life that is supposed to live there. Effect and coming to the effects of environmental degradation. So, environmental degradation of any kind will impact or influence on the human health. The toxic air pollutants can cause respiratory problems like pneumonia and asthma. Millions of people are known to have died of due to indirect effects of air pollution, and it will result in a loss of biodiversity. Biodiversity is important for maintaining balance of the ecosystem in the form of combating pollution, restoring nutrients, protecting water sources, and stabilizing climate. Deforestation, global warming, overpopulation, and pollution are few of the major causes for loss of biodiversity. So, environmental degradation will result in the depletion of the ozone layer. Ozone layer, as we all know, it is responsible for protecting Earth from the harmful penetration of the ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet rays. The presence of chlorofluorocarbons, hydrochlorofluorocarbons in the atmosphere is causing the ozone layer to deplete. As it will deplete, it will emit harmful radiations back to the Earth, and this environmental degradation will cause loss for tourism industry. The deterioration of environment can be a huge setback for tourism industry that relies on tourists for their daily livelihood. Environmental damage in the form of loss of green cover, loss of biodiversity, huge landfills, increased air and water pollution. So this can be a big turn off for most of the tourists, and it will result in the loss for tourism industry. The economic impact is also considerable. The huge cost that a country may have to bear due to environmental degradation can have big economic impact in terms of restoration of green cover, cleaning up of landfills, and protection of endangered species. The economic impact can also be in terms of loss of the tourism industry. One of the greatest challenges facing humanity is environmental degradation, including deforestation, desertification, pollution, and climate change. An issue of increasing concern for the international community. Environmental degradation increases the vulnerability of the societies. It affects and contributes to the scarcity of resources. Environmental degradation can lead to a scarcity of resources such as water and even the farm lands. And coming to the effects of major environmental problems on both health and productivity are water pollution and water scarcity. Water scarcity compounds these health problems. Productivity is affected by the costs of providing safe water, by constraints on economic activity caused by the water shortage. Air pollution is also a major threat for the environment. Solid and hazardous waste, it will impact the productivity through the pollution of groundwater resources. Soil degradation, such as depleted soils, increase the risks of malnutrition for forests. And even for the farmers. Deforestation, the loss of sustainable logging potential and of erosion prevention, watershed stability, and carbon sequestration provided by forests are among the productivity impacts of deforestation. And moreover, it will lead to the loss of biodiversity and the depletion of ozone layer will result in the atmospheric changes. The social factors such as the socio-economic factors, institutional and the technological environments will be influenced by all these things. Even population. Population can be considered as an important source of development, and yet it is a major source of environmental degradation too. So unless the relationship between the multiplying population and the life support system can be stabilized, development programs, however innovative, are not likely to yield desired results. And it will result in poverty. Poverty is said to be both cause and effect of environmental degradation. The circular link between poverty and environment is an extremely complex phenomenon. Inequality may foster unsustainability because the poor, who rely on the natural resources more than the rich. Acceleration in poverty elevation is imperative to break this link between poverty and the environment. Urbanization. So the lack of opportunities for gainful employment in villages and the ecological stresses is leading to an ever increasing movement of poor families to the nearby towns. Such rapid and unplanned expansion of the cities has resulted in the degradation of urban environment. Even the economic factors will result in poor functioning of markets and environmental goods and services. The level and pattern of economic development also affect the nature environmental problems. So direct impacts of agricultural development on the environment and from farming activities will contribute to soil erosion, land salination and loss of nutrients. Intensive agriculture and irrigation contribute to land degradation, particularly salination, alkalization, and water logging. Welcome back to these online lectures. So we are in the second unit of the paper, environmental education. So in this lecture, we shall deal with the types of pollutions. As we all know, we have land pollution, air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, and radiation pollution. The term pollution means addition of any substance which alters the quality of the environment. Substances which cause pollution or alter excuse me substances which cause pollution or alter the natural quality of the air, water, and soil are called the pollutants. Here, the pollution may be defined as the contamination of the environment that causes harm to the health and survival of humans and other living organisms. Therefore, there is a pressing need for all of us to develop and apply more efficient and environmentally suitable strategies for sustainable growth. Pollutants can be classified as solid, such as heavy metals, fertilizers, plastics, fibers, microorganisms, etc. And liquids as solvents, oil, pesticides, insecticides, effluents, etc. And gases such as fumes, hydrocarbons, vapors, oxides of nitrogen and sulfur, carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. Pollution can be broadly classified into 5 types as land pollution, air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, and radiation pollution. Land pollution, in other words, means degradation or destruction of Earth's surface and soil directly or indirectly as a result of human activities. The degradation of the land that could be used constructively, in other words, is land pollution. Land pollution has led to a series of issues that we have come to realize in recent times after decades of the negligence. The increasing number of barren land plots and the decreasing numbers of forest cover is at an alarming ratio. Here are certain causes for the land pollution, such as deforestation and soil erosion. Deforestation carried out to create dry lands is one of the major concerns, and even the soil erosion, that is cause of the land pollution. Agricultural activities, such as farmers often use highly toxic fertilizers and pesticides to get rid of insects. So this causes the land pollution. And mining activities. During extraction and mining activities, several land spaces are created beneath the surface. We constantly hear about the land caving in. This is nothing but the nature's way of filling the space left out after mining or extraction activity. Overcrowded landfills. The piling up of the recycling units and the waste material, that is the garbage from the community, is also a kind of land pollution. Industrialization causes land pollution. To meet the demands of the growing population, more industries were developed, which led to deforestation. Research and development paved the way for modern fertilizers and chemicals that were highly toxic and led to soil contamination. Even the constructive activities, construction, nuclear waste, sewage treatment are all said to be the causes for land pollution. Effects of land pollution. By the land pollution, the soil is polluted and the upper layer of the soil is damaged. Due to land pollution, there is a change in the climatic patterns, and the environmental impact is said to be a great damage to the environment. Global warming, the greenhouse effect, irregular rainfall, and flash floods among other imbalances. Even it causes destruction of the tourism, it affects the wildlife, and the results are so on and so forth. And the solutions to overcome the land pollution are: we must make people aware about the concept of reduce, recycle, and reuse. Reduce the use of pesticides and fertilizers. Avoid buying packaged items. Buy biodegradable products and use of pesticides. Create a dumping yard away from the residential areas. So the next type of pollution is air pollution. Air pollutant is a substance present in the atmosphere in concentrations that disturb the natural equilibrium of the atmosphere and produces undesirable effects on humans and environment. There are several types of air pollutants. Some of them are not very harmful, but others can be very dangerous and can have serious effect on man and his environment. Gases such as CO, CO2, NH, CO, H2S are all poisonous and toxic that pollute the air in many ways. And coming to the causes of air pollution, burning of the fossil fuels results in air pollution. The agricultural activities, exhaust from factories and industries, the mining operations, indoor air pollution are all the causes of air pollution. And coming to the effects of air pollution results in respiratory problems and even heart problems. By the air pollution, health complications are increasing day by day, and even children are prone to these pollutants, and they suffer from pneumonia and asthma. Global warming, acid rains are the effects of air pollution. Even the wildlife is being affected by the air pollution. And Depletion of the ozone layer is a resultant of the air pollution, and solution to overcome air pollution are: we must use public mode of transport, must conserve energy. We should understand the concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle. We should emphasize on clean energy resources. We must use energy efficient devices. And the next type of pollution is water pollution. Pollution of water occurs when substances that will modify the water in negative fashion are discharged in it. This discharge of pollutants can be direct as well as indirect. The contamination of water bodies, in simplest words, means water pollution. Water pollution is an appealing problem, powerful enough to lead the world on a path of destruction. And coming to the sources of water pollution, there are various classifications of water pollution. The two chief sources of water pollution can be seen as point and non-point. Point refers to the pollutants that belong to a single source, and non-point, on the other hand, means pollutants emitted from multiple resources. And causes of water pollution are industrial waste, sewage and the wastewater, mining activities, marine dumping, accidental oil leakage, burning of the fossil fuels, chemical fertilizers and pesticides, leakage from the sewage pipelines, global warming, the radioactive waste, urban development, leakage from the landfills, the animal waste, etc. The next type of pollution is noise pollution. By definition, noise pollution takes place when there is either excessive amount of noise or an unpleasant sound that causes temporary disruption and disturbance in natural balance. This definition is usually applicable to sounds or noises that are unnatural in either their volume or their production. In coming to the causes of natural noise pollution, Industrialization, the various equipments used in industries like compressors, generators, exhaust fans, grinding mills also participate in producing the noise. Poor urban planning is a cause for noise pollution. Social events such as parties, places of worship will cause noise pollution. Transportation, construction activities, household chores will cause noise pollution. And the effects of noise pollution are health issues, sleeping disorders, hearing problems, cardiovascular issues, trouble communicating, and even it affects the wildlife. And the next kind of pollution is radiation pollution. The radiation is the process by which radiant energy is transferred from one place to another in the form of electromagnetic waves. The various types of radiation differ from one another by their frequency or wavelength. Higher the frequency or lower the wavelength of radiation, higher will it be the energy released. So the sources of radiation pollution are caustic rays, radioactive minerals, radionuclides, etc. And the effects of the radiation pollution. It will impact health issues, the degradation of the bone marrow may cause leukemia. Radiation may cause skin cancer. And the control of the radiation pollution. Nuclear tests should be banned. Nuclear reactors should be perfectly maintained to avoid the accidental leakage. Likewise, we should be aware of all these kinds of pollutions in order to have a pure environmental equilibrium. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So, welcome back to these online lectures. So, we are in the second unit of the paper, Environmental Education. Greenhouse effect and ozone layer depletion. So, coming to the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is caused by the gases present in the atmosphere. The energy from the sun passes through the atmosphere, reaching the Earth's surface.
Part of the energy is absorbed by the earth, while the rest is reflected back. There has been a lot of concern in recent years over the emission of other greenhouse gases such as methane, nitrous oxide, and the chlorofluorocarbons. Furthermore, there has been an increase in the concentration of CO2, all due to human activity. Coming to the history of the greenhouse effect, Svante Arrhenius, who was a Swedish scientist, was the first to claim in 1896 that fossil fuel combustion may eventually result in enhanced global warming. He proposed the relation between atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations and temperature. The natural greenhouse effect is the rise in temperature that the Earth experiences because certain gases in the atmosphere, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, ozone, methane, etc. Sunlight enters the Earth's atmosphere, passing through the greenhouse gases. As it reaches the Earth's surface, land, water, and biosphere absorb the sunlight's energy. Even a little warming may cause problems for humans, plants, and animals. The enhanced greenhouse effect. Some human activities also produce greenhouse gases, and these gases keep increasing in the atmosphere. The change in the balance of the greenhouse gases has significant effect on the entire planet. Burning of the fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Cutting down and burning trees also produce a lot of carbon dioxide. A group of greenhouse gases called the chlorofluorocarbons have been used in aerosols such as hair spray cans, refrigerators, and in making foam plastics. Greenhouse gases. Many greenhouse gases occur naturally in the environment, such as vapor, that is water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. Other gases such as hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, and perfluorocarbons, PFCs, and sulfur hexafluoride, SF6, are created and emitted solely through human activities. Human activities also add significantly to the level of naturally occurring greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide (CO2), nitrous oxide (N2O), methane (CH4), fluorinated gases are expected to rise in the future. Our everyday choices about such things as commuting, housing, electricity use, and recycling can influence the amount of greenhouse gases being emitted. And coming to the ozone layer depletion. Ozone layer depletion is one of the most serious problems faced by our planet Earth. It is also one of the prime reasons which are leading to global warming. As we all know, ozone is a colorless gas which is found in the stratosphere of our upper atmosphere. The layer of ozone gas is what which protects us from the harmful ultraviolet radiations of the sun. The ozone layer absorbs these harmful radiations and thus prevents these rays from entering the Earth's atmosphere. Ultraviolet radiations are high energy electromagnetic waves emitted by the sun, which, if Earth's atmosphere, can lead to various environmental issues, including global warming, and also a number of health-related issues for all living organisms. From the 1970s, the depletion of ozone layer started to capture the attention of the scientists, environmentalists, and the world community at large. Let us see the cause and effect of the depletion of the ozone layer. Causes of ozone layer depletion. The main things that lead to destruction of the ozone gas in the ozone layer: low temperatures, increase in the level of chlorine and bromine gases in the upper stratosphere are some of the reasons that lead to ozone layer depletion. But the one and the most important reason for ozone layer depletion is the production and emission of chlorofluorocarbons. This is what which leads to almost 80% of the total ozone layer depletion. And coming to the effects of the ozone layer depletion, the entering of ultraviolet rays will associate with a number of health-related and environmental issues such as skin cancer, eye damage, damage to the immune system, aging of skin, and it will affect the other life forms too. And even these ultraviolet rays will have an adverse effect on the marine ecosystem. Ultraviolet rays will also affect the plants, and people should be aware of various ways to bring down the ozone layer depletion. We must be aware, and we can do is spreading the individual awareness about the use of hazardous gases in the environment. Hence, we can protect our ozone layer. Thank you. Welcome back. So we are in the second unit of the paper Environmental Education. So in this lecture we shall see the importance of need and scope of environment, conservation and regeneration. Environmental conservation is a broad term for anything that furthers the goal of making life more sustainable for the planet. Ultimately, people want to help the planet survive naturally and with no negative impact from the human race. Helping keep the planet safe and healthy is called conservation. Conservation of the environment. By using the environment sustainably, the environment and the natural resources it provides will not be depleted or destroyed permanently and will be available for human use for a very long time. If people do not manage the land properly and the resources are not being used sustainably, then the environment can be destroyed and the conservation method will have failed. Excuse me. We should save the environment from all kinds of threats. There will be climatic changes as per the greenhouse effect and the greenhouse gases are concerned. So, we must be aware of the things and must protect the environment. And the importance of environmental conservation is including protecting the ozone layer and protecting the ozone layer protecting the ozone layer and reducing the pollution. This is how environmental conservation is important for many reasons, including the protection of ozone layer, maintaining animal and human food chains, preserving potable water, and making efficient use of non-renewable resources. Environmental conservation seeks to prevent dormant damage through measures such as proactive management and ecologically sustainable energy production. All environmental conservation benefits mankind. The food chain preservation, the ultraviolet radiation, reducing the ultraviolet radiation, protecting the ozone layer. These are all the part and parcel of conservation of the environment. Fossil fuels are another topic of great interest to the conservation of the environment. Environmental conservation comes in many forms and reminds us to be mindful of daily choices. Considering every part of the environment, including the trees, the oceans, and the soil, the trees that help us to breathe also isolate greenhouse gases that would cause the earth to heat up more quickly. The trees, the seas, and the ground, these three elements are necessary for our existence. This is why there are a large number of conservationists, many of which have dedicated themselves to protecting specific causes. Conserving the environment by using less energy and embracing alternative energy sources such as the solar energy, wind power. These two are renewable energy options that we could use more often. If the deforestation continues, it becomes a major environmental issue. Planting trees is a way to give back because it's, it aids in the restoration of homes for wildlife, food sources, and medicinal properties that only the trees provide. Global warming would slow down and wildlife would flourish more abundantly without the disturbance of human activities. Preservation and conservation of environment are very essential in protecting our own environment. There are certain additional ways by which we can help the environmental conservation is stop smoking, Change the way you clean the house, unplug things, learn up to cycle, be kind to others. And now we shall see what environmental regeneration is. Regeneration is actually a process of forming again, renewing and reconstructing. The greed of man-made polluted environment, the quality of environment is destroyed and it is now unfit for quality living. So the quality of environment is to be regenerated. The climate change has been recognized as the most important environmental issue and by some has been regarded as an even greater threat than terrorism. We should regenerate the environment to keep up the oxygen for us to breathe, to help in the sustainable food production, healthier food that helps in reducing the poverty, starvation, and disease in the developing countries. It helps in reducing drought and water shortages, reducing landslides, flash floods, etc., and reducing the environmental toxins. Here we finish. Thank you. Welcome back. So we are in the second unit of the paper Environmental Education. So in this lecture we shall deal with the impact of industry, mining, transport on environment. How environment is being influenced by the industrialization. So here we have the positive impact of industrialization in the low cost of production, self-sufficient, in providing employment to the unemployed youth, improving the agricultural facilities, defense and security. These are all the positive impact of the industrialization. And coming to the negative impact of the industrialization, mechanized, heavy and large-scale industries have negative impact which adversely affect the environment, society and economy of our country. So this mechanization has been the reason for decline of the cottage industry. It has influenced for the mass migration from the rural areas, and it is the cause for the depletion of the natural resources, and it is solely responsible for pollution. It is the reason for the increase of war-like situation. And coming to the ill effects of the industrialization, metallic contaminants like CD, ZN, He, etc. destroy bacteria and beneficial for the microorganisms in the soil. Industrial wastes, toxins enter into the food chain, causes a number of undesirable effects to living beings and animals. Industrial effluent damages the natural and biological purification mechanism. Even the radioactive industrial pollutants cause undesirable disease. Coming to the impact of mining on environment, the environmental impact of mining includes erosion, formation of sinkholes, loss of biodiversity, contamination of the soil, groundwater and surface water by chemicals from mining processes. Besides creating environmental damage, the contamination resulting from leakage of chemicals also affect the health of the local population. Erosion of the exposed hillsides, mine dumps, tailings, dams and resultant siltation of drainages, creeks and rivers can significantly impact the surrounding areas. Mining of minerals being an environmentally unfriendly activity has attracted the attention from the standpoint of environmental impacts and their mitigation. Mining affects all the components of the environment, and the impacts of permanent or temporary, beneficial or harmful, repairable or irreparable, and reversible or irreversible. So, this will impact the society and displacement of the people, loss of the livelihood, changes in the population dynamics, and the overall human race is being affected by the mining. And coming to the impact of transportation or transport on environment. The growth of speedy transportation is man's greatest achievement in minimizing distances, but at the same time it has also become a cause of environmental degradation. Concern over the environmental consequences and the transport development is long-standing. The environmental implications of transport development have become very widely recognized. It's a plethora of local, national and international, when governmental and non-governmental organizations contributing to the debate by producing their own policy prescriptions and agendas for action. In considering the relationship between transport and the environment, we are immediately confronted with a potential paradox. There are five major environmental impacts of the transport development. The first one is energy consumption in transport and environmental pollution. The second one is the air pollution. The third one is the noise pollution. The fourth one is the land consumption and the landscape damage. And the fifth and final one, ecological degradation. So these are all the ill effects of the transportation on the environment. So we should be aware of the damage being caused to the environment, and we must protect the environment for the future generations. Here we come to the end of the second unit in the paper Environmental Education.